Welcome. In this video, I'm going to talk about time and how it is a source of conflict in so many relationships and what you can do to get past this. So, from my own experience and the people that I have been blessed to date, and also from clients that I have worked with, I have seen time be a major source of conflict because people relate to time in a different way. What is on time is one thing for one person, and it's something different for another person. And what is late also has different definitions. And so in this video, I want to speak about the different temperaments of time, some perspectives for helping you to understand and accept these different temperaments and how to work with them and to create more harmony in a relationship. So, one, there are different temperaments. These different temperaments can come because you're from different cultures. When I lived in Kenya for 3 months, how they related to time was completely different than my American way of relating to time. And same for India. I would call the guy who was bringing me copies of papers for the yoga studio that I was running, and he would say he's right around the corner, and he showed up 5 hours later. We don't relate to time in the same way. So it can be a big cultural thing. It's also just a matter of temperaments. If you're into astrology, Aquarians are known to be people who really care about being on time. And if you're not on time, then they get quite frustrated. Aquarian. So it's something that I've had to work with. So people relate to time in a different way. And people who are usually on time have a tendency to be quite attached to their way being the right way. So they can be a bit righteous about it. We think that it is correct to be on time, it's respectful, it's considerate, you're keeping your word. And we place all of these value judgments on it. And then often there's no room for somebody to be not on time or relate to time in a different way. We're also more efficient in how we are with our time. And in this, I want you to see how there's not space for somebody else to be who they are without being wrong if they don't relate to time in a similar way. If you happen to be one of those people who is on time and there's no excuse to not be on time. So, when you get into this standpoint and you start judging people for relating to time in a different way, I want you to remember of what's really important here. And then to look at like what's really important in life. What are your values that you're living by and standing by? And see where connection and intimacy falls on your list. If you can remember that connection, peace, happiness, enjoyment, fun are the most important things, and you can stay connected to those values, then it can help you to be able to relax more around the time when it starts to get a bit agitated and irritated, frustrated, annoyed with people when they are not functioning according to your time. I have had partners who don't relate to time. I had one partner where it was like 20, 30, 40 minutes late. My current partner is usually like 5, 10. When we go into 15 or 20, we've agreed that that's late and something to address. And I tried for years to control them, to nag them. You need to be on time. You're late. Every time they were late, I mentioned it. And it was not, if we were going on a date and they were late, it started it off on a bad way. And I've learned to work with things in a different way and to respond to what's going on inside of me and my system to be able to adapt. And as I've done that, they've adapted to me. And something that really helped was when I was listening to a lecture of Eckhart Tolle, and he went and sat in front of an audience and he just sat there for like 10 or 15 minutes. And then after 10 or 15 minutes, he said, "What are you guys doing?" And they said, "We're waiting for you." And he said, "Why are you waiting? Be here, be present, be here now." That landed for me because I get so frustrated when I have to wait. I care a lot about my time. And in that, it also reflects to me that I am functioning a lot in my masculine when I'm in that mode and not just able to relax and enjoy the moment. So there's a lot of growth for me that was available when I started to see that I was getting agitated. And it was then an opportunity for me to shift and to start practicing presence. When I've helped other clients with this, I had one client who she was similar to me. She got really irritated and agitated when she had to wait. And then we use that as an opportunity for her to practice regulating her nervous system. And then that is something that she can use in all other areas of her life when she gets anxious, when she gets frustrated and irritated. So being able to practice presence in one moment will help you in all the other areas of your life. Also, something that's helped me in my relationships and working with my clients is getting clear about what we mean when we say certain words. So, for instance, my partner's from South Africa, and he would say, I'm leaving just now. I'm coming just now. Let's leave just now. This took me like 3 or 4 years to figure out after being highly irritated because for my American brains, just now means we're leaving right now. And I later learned that in South Africa, just now is a phrase for in a bit. So that was really helpful to get clear. Another word that we had to get clear around is when he was coming. So we live 2, 3 minutes apart. When I would go to his house and we were going to go out on a date, and I would say, I'm leaving my house right now, I would show up at his house and he was still sitting on his computer or on his phone. When I got there, he would then get up and start getting ready to leave. If he was coming to my house and he said, I'm leaving just now, I would then be at the door, ready to lock it and walk out. So I saw that we related to this term and how we responded in our actions differently. Another thing was when he finishes his meditation at night and comes over to my house for dinner and spend the evening together, he would write coming. And while he lives 2 minutes away, he took him 15 minutes to get here. And my efficient on time brains were going a little short circuit. And so I then asked, when do you write that? Because if you're writing it when you get on and you drive here, then how is it taking you so long? And he's like, no, I write it when I finish my meditation and then I go and I pack up my computer and I do this and I do that. I was like, oh, see, I would have written that as soon as I walked out the door, then I would write coming. So it's really helpful to get clear on those words. And when I've done this work with clients, when one person would say to another, are you ready? And he said, yes. And then he went and did a couple of other things. He went and picked up his hat and he got his bag. And 3 minutes later, he was ready to walk out the door. It creates some irritation. But when you understand how you relate to these words, then it becomes so much easier to understand what the person is saying instead of assuming that they mean the same thing as when you relate to that word. So understand, don't assume, get curious, inquire into it. And if you are somebody who in your relationship, you've got this conflict around time, then I've already given you some ideas of how you can work with it. You can work on practicing presence. You can get clear around communication. Also, from us with my partner, if he's 5, 10 minutes late, okay, I'm practicing presence. If he's 15 to 20 minutes late, then I like for him just to acknowledge it, like, hey, I'm late, I'm sorry. Or if he can send me a message saying, I'm going to be late, then that's really helpful for me. So he supports me in maintaining presence and making the most out of my time through that communication. And so just get clear, like, what is it that you need to be able to coexist? And each person's relation to time has space, and it doesn't have to be your way or their way, but each of you can be able to find a way to have your ways both have space. As you're figuring this out, ask each other, what kind of support do you need for this? With the client that it was going to be a practice for her to regulate her system of just calming down and being present like it was for me. When we came up with, okay, what can be a reminder for you? They had this fantastic idea to put on the song by Warren G, Regulator. I don't know if that's the name of the song, but that have that on for like the final 5, 10 minutes of usually when she would get stressed out, to remind her to stay in a practice of breathing, of regulating her nervous system, and then also just staying connected to what is important. What is life all about? If it's about being efficient, and I love efficiency, But if I make efficiency my top priority, then I'm probably going to be going through life and speeding past things that are really important. And so to come back to also, what is the most important thing here? Yes, I'm stressed about getting late. What is it that I'm late for? What are going to be the consequences? And focus on what is it that life is really all about and that make life worth living? Is it about packing in everything, or is it about being present and enjoying your time and being peaceful and having those connections? So this is what I have to say on time, some helpful hints on how to make it more harmonious in your relationship if this is a point of conflict. If you like this video, please press like, subscribe, tell me what you took away from it in the comments below, and I will see you in another video.